Hello and welcome. So in today's video, what we want to do is we want to be able to go into our web page and click anywhere on the menu and to jump to that specific point in the page. This is using what are called anchor points or anchor tags in WordPress as well as in regular HTML. So if you're interested, let's get started. Now, if we go to our main page, spotivity.com, you'll notice that we've already done this to a degree in the previous videos. So when we click on this button, it will move down to the next section. When we click on this button, it will move down to the next section. But the challenge here is how to incorporate that into our menu. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Edit with Elementor, and that will allow us to view how the page is currently set up. Now, as you may remember from previous videos, the way that we add these individual anchors are by using a widget in Elementor, our page builder, called anchor or menu anchor. And so we drop these little individual anchors in, and you'll notice that what we did is we gave it an ID. So an ID is how JavaScript and CSS, the individual components that are sort of working behind the scenes on our web page, find the specific point on the page and allow us to move right there. So we called this the about section. So we would just go like here, about, and we would update this. We'll say this could be our old example, just so that we have a point of reference. Now I'm going to hit update again. And so we actually have two anchor points. This is old example, and this one here is called about. Then what we did is we went to the space that we want to link this ID to, this point on the page. In our case, it was this learn more button. And so then we use a pound sign and the label that we had, which is about. But we could also call this get old. So if we scroll up, we'll call this get old. We'll scroll up, wait for it to save, update again. And now when we click on this section, it will move to the get old section here. But we actually don't like this naming. We preferred the original naming, the naming of about. So we're going to delete that first anchor, or actually we're going to delete that first anchor, and then we're going to change this back to the about section. So it will be hashtag about. We can click update. And then if we scroll down here, at this point, when we click on this button, it says more info, and it will move to this anchor here, which is more info. And then there should potentially be another anchor here, which we could add. So it could say, we could call it projects. And again, I'm not using a pound sign for when I'm creating the ID, only when I'm calling the ID, when I add it to the place that we want to link. And then we could add one more here, which we might call join. We'll just call this join. All right, so far we've reviewed how to add anchor points, and then we've gone ahead and we've reviewed how to call those anchor points using the button terminology or the link terminology of the hashtag and the name. So next what we want to do is we want to create a custom menu. In order to create a custom menu, you would go to Appearance, and then let's go to Menus. Next, what we can do is we can go to this link here, which says create a new menu. And we're going to give this a name. So we'll call it main page menu, something like this. We're going to click the create menu button. And then while that saves, we're going to come here and we're going to think about what individual items we want on our menu. So we'll probably want an about section, we'll want a more info section, we'll have a project section and a join section. So in order to do that, we'll go back to our menus, and in order to add menu item, we can go over here and we can go to custom links. So here we're gonna call it about, and it is case sensitive. So if you want about to appear with a capital A, you'd want to type that here in this text box. and that adds the about. Next, we'll call it more info. And you'll notice I put that actually in the wrong section. So I'm going to go here, and then we come back to this page, and we just want to make sure that we shop or collect the proper identification. So I'm just going to copy and paste. And then again, remember, we want to have this pound sign so that it actually calls the correct point on the page. If you don't have a pound sign, it actually won't work. Next, we have the courses page, I think. By courses, I mean projects, although our projects are courses, so I guess we could have named that better. Projects, we hit add to menu. We'll go back here, and this I believe is called join. So we'll go through the same process, call this join, and you could say join us. This is again what's going to appear at the top of the menu. Now if we were to go back here and now go to spolativity.com, you may suspect correctly that the menu is not going to appear. It's not going to appear for two reasons. So we still have that old menu. Now what's the first reason it doesn't appear? The first reason it doesn't appear is because we did not indicate that it should be our primary menu. So we want to switch that by checking this box and then hitting save menu. And then we actually did those two steps here. So now when we refresh it, it should have that new functionality. So essentially we had to click this box and then we had to hit save menu. That was the first and second steps. If we had done neither of those, or if we hadn't done both of those, we essentially wouldn't be here. So now, crossing our fingers, if we click the about button or the about link, it will bring us down there. And if we hit more info, it will bring us to that section. If we hit projects, it will bring us to this section. And then lastly, if we hit join us. Now we could choose to have a sticky menu, which is the topic for a separate course. But if you notice here, when we click about, it will bring us to that section. Or if we click learn more, it'll bring us to that section. We already have a button here, which moves us down. Then here you probably want people to read. So maybe you don't want them to be able to get to the project section. You scroll down and you have our courses. Now the cool thing about this option is we still have our button here for our courses. So if someone clicks there, it will still open the external link to our Udemy course page. All right, so in this video, what we wanted to learn how to do is we wanted to review the step of creating these anchor links. So when we are in Elementor, we can go to the edit page section in order to edit in Elementor. And then once we're in Elementor, once this beautiful page decides to load, then we reviewed how to add these anchor points here. And essentially if we wanted to add a new one, we would just go to Elementor and then we would type in anchor. We would try to spell that correctly. We drop it in, we give it a name, then we go to the link or the place that we want to add that and we add a pound sign. What we ended up doing is we ended up going to the menus section. We created a new menu, which we had here. Then we went and we added these custom links with the pound sign, and we said about, and then we gave it a name like this. We hit add new. I'm not going to do that because we already have an about section. Although if we wanted to, we could hit add menu and then we could just remove that link. If on the off chance you gave it the wrong address or the wrong link, you could adjust it here. You could also change the name or you could remove it as we did there. We then went to save menu. We added it as a primary menu. We click save menu again, or at least you would. And then when you go to your home page, which will go here, we now have a new primary menu. When you click any of these links, it will move down to the proper section of the page. All right, so if you have any questions or comments, feel free to add them in the comment section below. If you are interested in seeing additional WordPress and web development videos, as well as videos around learning how to learn, please join us in subscribing to this channel. Otherwise, we'll see you again for another video. And as always, thanks for watching.